Hi friends, my name's Jazmin, and today we're going to be practicing Yin Yoga for the shoulders. You're going to need a glass of water, a blanket, and if you'd like to have a yoga prop like a foam block, you're welcome to, but it's totally not necessary. Let's get on the mat. We'll start class today by inhaling through the nose as we lift both the shoulders and exhaling with a ha sound through the mouth as we drop the shoulders. Inhale. 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 Last one, inhale. Well done. Go ahead and take the hands to the earth, brushing the earth with your fingertips. Inhale the hands over the head. Will the palms briefly touch? Then exhale as the palms face down to the earth. Inhaling as the palms lift. Exhaling as the palms come back down to the ground. Inhaling through the nose. Exhaling through the mouth. Inhale. Exhale. Keep going at your own pace. Inhaling up, exhaling down. Maybe beginning to let the eyes close gently or soften as you breathe. Settling into your space, settling into the practice. Go ahead and complete the last rotation of your arms, and then let the hands rest naturally on the lap. Now we'll come into hands and knees with a flat back here. All 5 fingers on each hand pressing down evenly into the floor. And once we've found our stable position here, we're going to inhale the right arm up to the sky. And then exhale as we thread the right arm under the left armpit. We'll be placing the side of the head and the shoulder on the earth. You can add a blanket or a prop here if you need it. The hips are in a neutral position, and this is a twist for the upper back. You might feel your shoulders coming together, so this is a stretch to bring the shoulders together. And we're going to breathe deeply in this stretch, remembering that our deep breath is our friend here in this twist. It's going to help us wring out any stress or tension. Throughout this practice, you're welcome to breathe in and out through the nose, or in through the nose and out through the mouth might be a really nice way to continue to release tension. Let's do a couple more deep breaths here. Using those out breaths to soften into this stretch. next breath, inhale that right hand up to the sky. Exhale it to the earth. Inhale the left hand up to the sky. And exhale as you thread it under, placing the left shoulder and the left cheek on the ground, maybe adding a prop if you need it. And activating your deep breaths for this twist. We're here for another minute, working on our deep breaths in this upper body twist. On your next breath, go ahead and inhale that left hand back up to the sky. Exhale it to the earth. And then we're going to come down into a child's pose. The butt is going to come down to the heels. The hands will stretch out in front of us. And then if we'd like to continue with that shoulder release, we can bring the hands actually behind the head with the palms touching. So shoulders are beginning to melt down as the elbows support the arms from the ground. We'll be in this child's pose for a couple of minutes. The child pose isn't quite working for you. You've got a couple options. You can place a block or a blanket under the forehead if your forehead doesn't quite reach the mat. This arm movement behind the head isn't working for you. You could try having the arms out here long, or bringing the hands back to your feet, coming to seed pose. Ideally, you want the chin or the forehead on the mat. But again, if that doesn't work for whatever reason, you can turn your head to one side or the other. Or again, place a block under the forehead to make it easier to reach the ground. All of these variations are always available to you anytime you need child's pose. You're also welcome to take the knees as wide apart as you'd like, or keep them close together. We'll be here for one more minute in child's pose. On your next breath, release the hands from behind the head. Bring them to the earth. Press gently into the hands to come back up. We're actually going to turn over and briefly rest on our back in what's called a rebound pose, also known as Shavasana, or just lying on the back. You're going to notice right away that Yin has a lot more of these than you're used to. With Yin, we're pushing the body and different joints in a different way than a lot of other yogas. And so we give a lot of time in between positions in order for the body to rebound, to heal itself. So know that if your body feels a little weak or slightly achy coming out of any of these moves, that's totally okay. We're gonna give the body time to rest and rebound after these positions, these difficult positions. So anytime we come to relax on the back, you're welcome to make this your own. I love to really stretch out, take up space, especially when I'm working on the shoulders. I love to cover myself with a warm blanket. Sometimes take a sip of water before I lay down is also recommended. You're welcome to have your knees up if that's more comfortable for your low back. I like knees up touching together as a self-sustaining position. Or you're welcome to place anything you want under your knees or a head or a pillow under your head. It all works. Join me now relaxing on the back. Next, we'll bring our knees into our chest and rock and roll a few times to come up. Once you're up, go ahead and bring both legs out in front of you. And then we're going to take the right knee, make sure you've got your right knee, and place it over the left, coming into a seated twist, so turning towards that right knee, hooking it with our elbows, and coming into an easy twist with the upper spine. You're going to notice that with Yin Yoga, you're not going to come into your absolute maximum stretch. You want to come into about 70% of where your maximum stretch is and hang out there. We're going to be holding these poses for about 5 minutes apiece. And that means you've got plenty of time and plenty of gravity to get you into the pose. Your pose is going to look different than mine. Everybody's body is different. The idea is not that we're looking for a specific shape or aesthetic,
but that we're looking to create a sensation in the body. And so here in this easy seated twist, I'm feeling a sensation all throughout my back and spine where I'm twisted. I'm also feeling a little bit of a stretch in the low body, the hamstrings, and in the hip. So go ahead and set yourself up into your twist and go for about 70% of your maximum twist and go for sensation. Go for feeling something. You're doing great. Keep hanging out in this twist, and let's talk a little bit about sensation. What you're looking to experience in Yin Yoga is the feelings of the tissues, the joints, the connective tissues, the muscles, getting a sensation, getting some work done. But you want to be very careful to notice the difference between sensation and pain. No matter what move we're practicing, we're not looking to create pain in the body, pain in the joints, and especially no pain in the knees. And so when you come into a position, you're looking for that feeling, that healthy, broad stretch, that feeling of the body working. But if you feel anything that feels tweaky, sharply painful, or numbing, go ahead and come out of that and do a gentler version of that stretch. We don't want to do anything that, again, causes sharp pain, tingling, or numbing in the body. That means we've gone too far into a stretch and need to come out. Last few seconds here in our twist, maybe bringing the head to the back if we haven't already, completing that tall spinal twist. And on our next exhale, let's twist to the other side. We'll release the elbow and twist over to the left, coming briefly into a counter twist, both hands on the earth. Just hang out here, let the head hang. with your next breath, bring the torso back to center. Now watch this carefully because it'll look confusing if you don't do this slowly. First step is you're going to take your bottom leg, that's your left leg, and you're going to fold it back under you. So the left foot comes to my right butt. Next, I'm going to start shimmying the legs together so that my thighs are squeezed together, and then I'm going to stack my knees on top of each other to come into a position called shoelace. Now notice how my knees are stacked as close to vertical as possible. My knees are as close together as possible. My thighs are as close together as possible. And I've got my 2 feet here, my 2 anchors. Now these feet can be out close to the edge of your mat like this, or they can come back closer to the hips. What you're looking for in sensation is a broad, healthy stretch in the hips and no pain in the knees. So if you're feeling any stress in the knees, that's your invitation to make this a little easier, maybe bring things a little bit apart, or to add a prop. Maybe your bottom knee could use a blanket or a block underneath it to help stabilize it. Whatever your body needs to feel stable and safe, go ahead and add that now. Once you've got your lower body set up in this shoelace, we're going to take the left hand, make sure it's your left hand, bring it out to the side, face the palm to the back. And once we've got that hand faced to the back, we're going to bring it back behind our shoulder blades. Depending on how flexible you are, maybe it's between the shoulder blades, or maybe it's down on the low back, completely up to you. We'll take our right hand, place it on our mat right next to our hip, and then bend towards the right. So coming into a side bend here, towards the right side, feeling this stretch in the left ribs, the left side body. And if it's comfortable for your neck, go ahead and tilt your nose to the sky and look up. Now, on your next breath, release the left hand from behind the back. Turn the head so that now you're looking down at your right hand. You're looking down at the earth. And then take the left hand, and just place it behind the head. So we're continuing to get this lovely shoulder stretch on the left side. We're bending towards the right, opening up the left side body. And we're looking down at the earth. On your next breath, release both of the hands, bring the torso back to center. Check in with your lower body, make sure you're still feeling the stretch in your hip, no pain in the knees. And then we're gonna come into a self-hug with the left arm on the bottom. Now we're gonna be hugging ourselves, left arm on the bottom. If you'd like more of a shoulder stretch, if this just isn't giving you any sensation in the shoulders, go ahead and come into eagle arms. You'll bring the backs of the arms together. And they can just hang out here with a tall chest. Or if you're feeling super flexible, you can even cross at the wrists and have the palms begin to come together. Again, lifting high into the chest, allowing the chest to compress into the elbows here for this eagle arms. Eagle arm isn't working for you, or that just looks super confusing. Self-hug is where you're going to be at. Feeling the broadness of the shoulders and the back as they slowly stretch open. Now we'll release the arms. And if you're already feeling a lot of stretch in the low back, you'll just stay upright and center here. If you've got more flexibility to go, we're going to place our hands in front of our body and we're going to lean over the knees. Go ahead and come down as low as you're able. Some folks may want to place a block under the head or a block between the knees and the head to support yourself. We're always checking in with the knees, making sure that we're not adding any discomfort for the knees, and making sure to come out of the position if we are. You should be feeling this in the hips and low back. The knees are not invited to this party. Well done. Go ahead and press into the hands to come up. Softly and slowly unwind those knees. We're going to come back to relax on our back. While you continue to relax on your back, I want to tell you a little bit more about Yin and how this practice may be different than the other yogas that you've experienced. We've already talked about how we're not coming into the deepest possible stretch. We're coming to, say, about 70% of our normal stretch. Some folks say they're finding their productive edge. You want to find your edge where the body is benefiting, is stretching itself, is challenging itself, but isn't harming itself. So that's your edge, or coming into, say, 70% of your stretch. The next principle of Yin is stillness. Unlike a more active vinyasa practice where we would be moving through these positions rapidly to form muscle and heat up the body, you'll notice that in Yin we pretty much pick a pose and stay there for 5 minutes or more. The principle behind this stillness is that by bringing stillness to the body, we're able to open up, stretch, release tension, and improve the health of systems that don't get worked when we only do those faster vinyasa style practices. There's absolutely nothing wrong with vinyasa. We love vinyasa, of course, but this is its yin counterpart to more yang exercises like vinyasa. And when we look at systems like the connective tissue, the fascia, and the joints, it turns out that quick movement doesn't help stretch and exercise those areas. The connective tissue is built to hold everything in place while you're doing all of that fast movement. So the only way to get into that connective tissue and allow its chance to relax is to be still. So all of these stretches have been designed out of the Taoist tradition, to allow the body to open slowly and gently with stillness. So your challenge, the best you can, is to come into the pose and to get as still as possible. Now that doesn't mean you never get to move or you never will move. Movement's a part of exercise, of course. Sometimes we get into a pose and we realize we needed a prop and we gotta go put it in. Sometimes we get into a pose and we've realized we've gone too deep or not deep enough and we need to shift the pose. All of that's perfectly allowed. But once you find the position that does stretch your body, come into as much stillness as you can and see what's there. From our position, relaxing on the back, we'll bring our knees in and rock and roll on the spine to come up. Once we're up, we can bring both our feet out in front of us. And this time we'll be taking the left leg over the right. Make sure it's your other side. We're going to turn towards the left, hooking that knee with the elbow, placing the left hand behind my body, and maybe turning my head all the way to the back or partially to the back. Remember, we're not coming into the deepest version of this twist. We want to come to our productive edge. And once we find it, we want to come into as much stillness as possible. You should be feeling this stretch predominantly in the spine as we twist, maybe a little bit in the hip, and maybe a tiny bit also in the bottom hamstring that we have stretched out. If you're not feeling anything in the back, that's an invitation to try and twist a little bit deeper. If you're feeling so much sensation in the bottom leg that you can't twist at all, go ahead and take that bottom leg and bring it under you, and you can come into this more compact version of the twist. We'll be here for another 2 minutes. Check in and make sure your spine is still tall. You might want to turn your head towards the back just a smidgen more. Or if you're feeling really flexible in the upper body, you can bring the elbow from hooking the knee like this to the other side of the knee. Maybe relax the hand down for more of an extreme stretch in the upper body if you're not feeling it yet. And for a small number of people, twisting the head back or twisting the head up or down might make you dizzy or give you a headache. Know that all of the head twists are optional. You don't have to do them if they don't work for you. We'll be here for just 1 more minute in this seated twist. On your next breath, bring the body back to center. Keep twisting into the counter twist, both hands on the mat on the right side. Let the head relax down if it feels good. Let the jaw relax. Let the tummy relax. With your next breath, bring your body back to center. Now, if you had the bottom leg out long, go ahead and tuck that back. So the right leg is coming to my left butt cheek here. We've got my left knee on top, or just make sure it's the other knee if you already did this side by accident. And we're zipping my thighs together and pulling my knees on top of each other. And then we're adding props to make up for wherever my natural flexibility doesn't quite reach. So in my case, I'm gonna add a little bit of a blanket under the knee here so that I feel stable without any pain in the knees. We're looking for a nice, healthy stretch in the hips, in the low back, and no tweakiness in the knees. Once you've got that set up, we can bring the right hand out to the right, palm faces to the back. We'll bring that back behind our back. Maybe it comes between the shoulder blades or just hangs out on the low back. The left hand is going down to the earth next to my left hip. We're gonna bend towards the left side and then bring my chin up to the sky. Take a couple of deep breaths into this side bend. On your next exhale, release the right hand from behind your back. Look down at your left hand and bring the right hand behind the head. It hangs out in this shoulder stretch. Continue to breathe into this side stretch, opening up the right side ribs, using the full lungs. With your next exhale, release the arms down, bring the body back to center. Double check in with the knees, the hips, make sure we're still in that productive stretch, that productive edge, no pain in the knees. Once we've verified that, we're going to come into a self-hug with the right arm on the bottom, lifting the chest up into the elbows, experiencing a nice bit of compression between the chest and the elbows. If you're not feeling the stretch in your back and the shoulders, go ahead and upgrade to eagle arms. We'll bring the arms so that the backs of the arms are touching. And you can even bring the palms to touch as well, if that's available for you. Feeling the broadness in the back as the shoulders stretch open with this arm movement. On your next exhale, release the arms. We're going to come into that forward fold over the knees, placing the hands in front of the body, using them to support us in coming into the right amount of forward fold, keeping all of the stress in the hips and the thighs, and not folding so deep that we stress the knees. On your next breath, press into the hands to come up. Softly and slowly unwind those knees. Maybe take a sip of water and come back to relax on the back. While you're relaxing on the back, I'm going to tell you a bit about the third principle of Yin. First principle, we talked about coming to your productive edge. Second principle, we talked about stillness, coming into stillness in your pose and really allowing the other systems of the body that don't get exercised with vigorous, active movement to be stretched. The last principle of Yin is time. You've already noticed that we're holding these poses for a lot longer than an average yoga class. The reason why time is so important to Yin Yoga is because we are trying to change systems in the body that need long, steady pressure to change. Now, you're probably familiar with how to build up a muscle over time, right? We do 10 reps, we rest, we do another 10 reps, we rest, we do another 10 reps, we rest. That's how we build muscle. Makes perfect sense. Now, what if we applied that same logic to straightening our teeth, right? We want to wiggle the front tooth 10 times, let it rest, wiggle the front tooth 10 times, let it rest, wiggle the front tooth 10 times, let it rest. As you can probably guess, that won't leave us with stronger teeth, just looser teeth. When we're working with joints and bones in the body, they don't respond to the quick movements of active exercise. They only respond to that slow, steady pressure over time. And that's why Yin is so different than any other exercise class, and why we find these positions and we stay there for 5, 6, some classes will take you past to 10 minutes. It's because we're stretching areas of the body that don't get stretched by rapid movement and need these long, slow holds to open up and release. From resting on your back, bring the knees into the chest, rock and roll a few times to come up. We'll come over onto our stomachs this time. Now what you're gonna do is take the left arm and place it out long next to you. It'll be parallel with the short side of your yoga mat, in this kind of airplane or starfish position. We're gonna take our right hand and place it right under our right shoulder, ready to support us. And our feet are gonna come together, so our torso comes together. Now on your next breath, slowly press into the right hand to turn yourself onto the left body. Now you might need something like a blanket under the head if your head doesn't quite reach the ground here. We want to come onto the left side of the body and find a way to stabilize ourselves. So I like to bend the right knee and place the right foot on the floor. And you should have a pretty delicious stretch in the left shoulder. If your neck is feeling crunched, just go ahead and lift the head up and bring it just an inch away more from the body. Or place a blanket under the head to support. And we'll be here for a total of 5 minutes in this shoulder stretch. You're doing great. I know we're here for a while. Go ahead and check in with that shoulder joint.
make sure that we haven't come into numbness or tingling. If you've got any of those feelings, it's time to go ahead and come out of this stretch a little bit early. If you feel like, ooh, it could start to tingle, it's getting close, bring your body just a little closer to the ground. Make the stretch just less extreme on yourself. So if you're feeling like, ooh, this really could go numb any second here, just bring your right chest closer to the ground so you've got less stretch on the left side. And then if for whatever reason you're really just like not feeling anything, make sure that you're pretty stable in the lower body, and you're welcome to take this right arm and actually bring it over the head like this, if you'd like even more stretch in the shoulder than you're already getting. You can bring your right hand over the top of the head and let it rest on the mat. But for most of us, we're probably pretty good with our right hand under where our right chest used to be. In this lovely shoulder stretch. On your next exhale, release the body back down to the ground, lying on your tummy. And if it's comfortable for you to lie on your tummy, go ahead and do that now. Bring the arms into Saguaro cactus arms, meaning that the elbows are bent. We're just going to rest the shoulders while we're here on the belly. Ideally, we'd have the chin or the forehead to the mat, but if that's not comfortable, you're welcome to turn the head to either side or place a block or a blanket under the forehead to help it reach the earth. We're going to set up for the second side. This time the right hand is going to come out long on the mat to my side, parallel with the short edge of my mat. I'm going to bring my left hand under my chest, bring my feet together, ready to roll onto my right side. Once I'm here on my right side, I can bend my left knee and bring that left foot on the ground to act as a kickstand. You might also want to bring a blanket or a block under the head to help with comfort in the neck. We're looking to create the sensation of stretch here all throughout the shoulder. We don't want to add any tweakiness to the neck or back, so please support yourself however you need to. Doing great in this shoulder stretch. Go ahead and check in with that right hand. Make sure you're not experiencing any pain or tingling. If this shoulder stretch is getting a little too intense, you're welcome to bring your torso closer to the ground, bringing a little bit of relief for that shoulder. If this shoulder stretch is not feeling like anything, you can press that left shoulder back further, coming into a more extreme stretch, or maybe even bringing the left hand over the head, placing the fingertips or the palm on your mat. If you'd like it to be a little more intense for this last minute or so, we're in this stretch. And with your next exhale, bring the torso back down to the mat. Let the hands come loose And now you can rest either on your stomach like we were doing before with those cactus arms, or you're welcome to turn over and rest on your back. Either way that you choose, make sure to spread those shoulders out really wide. Let them get the rest they deserve after that stretch. Slowly coming out of relaxing on the back, we're going to place both feet on the floor, knees pointed to the sky. And now, once we've got both our feet on the floor, we're going to bring our left ankle
and cross it over onto the right knee. So that's the left ankle on the right knee, making a figure 4 type shape with the lower body. And now we're going to prop ourselves up on our elbows and actually come up into this what's called seated swan in Yin. And we're going to check in with the hips. We want to be feeling a deep hip stretch. We may be feeling it a little bit in the thighs, but again, we don't want to feel any discomfort in the knees. So if we're feeling too much sensation right now or some discomfort in the knees, we're going to open this up a little bit, moving our butt or our foot a little bit away. If we're not feeling enough sensation, if you're like, this is way too easy, I'm not feeling anything, go ahead and bring the foot closer into the body, tightening up this stretch. And once you find a place where you're feeling, again, sensation in the hips, especially that outer left hip, but no pain in the knees, we're going to consider our lower body in the right place. And then we're going to bring our hands back, just walking our hands back behind us until we find some sort of sensation in the shoulders. This will be our seated swan stretch with this chest opener, this shoulder stretch included. It's okay if the elbows lock, as long as it's comfortable for you. You can tell that my elbows are a little double jointed here. So if it's comfortable to have the elbows locked and the arms straight, that's totally fine. You're also welcome to micro bend those joints and use a little bit more muscle to stay put here. You should be, again, feeling that hip stretch from the low body and some sort of upper body stretch, ideally in the shoulders. Maybe you feel a lot of that sensation in the arms, depending on how much strength it takes to hold. And then the neck is really up to you. If it's comfortable for you, you're welcome to bring the head back as far as you like. Or maybe the head comes forward, stretching the back of the neck. We're here for another minute. Check in with the back. Try and keep the back as straight as possible in this move. Check in with the hands. If you're experiencing any tingling or numbness, that could be a good time to adjust out of the pose. And of course, check in with the knees. Make sure we're not experiencing any pain in the knee. You can flex this foot, this left foot, and that may help stabilize the left knee if you're feeling any pain there. With your next breath, I'm going to go ahead and come back down onto my elbows, giving the lower body a little bit more space. I'm And softly and slowly, I'm going to unwind that top knee. And then with both feet on the floor, I'm going to windshield wiper the knees, bringing the knees from left to right, releasing any energy in the hips, maybe coming all the way back down onto my back to do these windshield wipers, releasing any stress from the shoulders and hands. Next, bring the feet back to the earth, knees pointed to the sky again. We'll take that right ankle and cross it over the left knee, maybe bringing the left foot a little closer to us if we'd like more stretch, maybe bringing it a little further away from our butt if we'd like less stretch. And we'll sneak up onto our elbows, finally onto our hands to come into the seated swan position. Your hips are probably different on both sides. You can see here that my right hip is tighter than my left hip, and that's completely normal. And so my right knee here is going to be a little closer to my body. I'm going to flex my right foot here to help protect that knee, because again, we're looking to feel the sensation in the hips, maybe the thighs, maybe the low back, but not the knees. So just your lower body, however you need to make sure that the knees feel great. And then once we have a good hip stretch in the low body, we're going to walk our hands back behind us until we also feel a bit of stretch in the shoulders. And again, you're welcome to have the arms straight for this, to lock the elbows while you're here, or put a bend in the elbows and use a little bit more muscle tension to hold yourself here. Ideally, you found a place for the hands where you feel the shoulders opening, the chest, and we'll continue to press that right knee forward so I can keep that hip stretch going. From here, if you want to lean the head back, if that feels good on the neck, go ahead. If you want to lean the head forward, that feels okay. You're welcome to do that as well. We're here for just a minute more. Check in, make sure there's no tingling in the hands, no pain in the knee. Straighten the back if you're able, using your core to support the low back here. We'll wiggle the arms back down so we can relax on our elbows. Slowly and softly unwind that knee. Maybe shake out the legs if that feels good. And come back to relax into a brief relax on the back. We're almost there. Just got one more set of moves after this. Let the shoulders come wide, let the palms come open, relaxing and rejuvenating all of those muscles that we just worked. One of the things that makes these rebound times so valuable is that when we're in these poses and twists, we're compressing the muscles, compressing the organs, compressing the vessels. And then when we relax in this open position, it allows fresh blood, fresh energy, fresh hormones to flood those areas. So you can think of twists of the body very much like wringing out a wet towel, in that as we do these compressions, we create tension to wring out what we no longer need, and then flood that area with fresh blood and fresh energy. Next, we'll bring our knees into our chest, rock and roll to come up. And go ahead and set yourself up with the soles of your feet together and your knees out wide. And the soles of your feet should be a good 2.5 feet from your pelvis. So this isn't the position we often practice in yoga where our feet are way in like this. This is a wider, more open, what's called butterfly position in Yin. We'll bring the soles of the feet together. You're even welcome to massage the inside soles of your feet if you'd like to while you're sitting here. And depending on how this feels on your body, you can go ahead and just stay more upright like I am now, or if you have the flexibility, start folding over the legs, and your forehead may eventually end up somewhere near your heels. Now, for a lot of folks, your forehead's not going to reach your heels on the first try, so feel free to bring a block here and rest your forehead on a block. For some other folks, this may feel too tweaky in your knees to have your knees out wide like this. Two options: you can bring a bolster under the knees or blocks to support them, or if you just can't find out a way to make this position work, bring the legs long and go ahead and just fold over the legs in what this position's called caterpillar. Right before butterfly, it happens. If you're able to do butterfly with us, please do so now. Soles of the feet together, relaxing down, rounding the spine, and allowing the forehead to hopefully land somewhere. If you don't have a block, another cute thing to do, you can put your elbows on your heels here and use your hands to
prop up your face like this. Gives you about the same amount as a block height. I bet everyone's looking beautiful in their butterfly position. Go ahead and check in with the knees. Make sure there's no pain. Make sure there's no numbness or tingling in the feet. If you have any of those, you can go ahead and back out a little bit early. If you're not feeling much sensation in the hips or thighs, go ahead and try and bring your head closer to your heels for a deeper stretch. We'll be here for about 1 more minute. On your next breath, press into your hands to come up. If it's still comfortable for your knees, we're going to keep the lower body in the same position, our legs in butterfly. And we're going to lie back down onto the mat, and we've got a couple different arm variations you can try. So the first variation is to lie down and to just place your hands behind your head, like you're relaxing on the beach. Go ahead and try that and see if that feels good for your shoulders and for your chest.
call these relaxing by the beach arms. Now, if this arm stretch isn't working for any reason, your next option is to take the hands, place them palm down in the low of your back. So we're kind of copying the shapes of our legs here by bringing the hands palms down under the small of the back, under the low back. And we're in this double diamond shape, our legs in a diamond as well as our arms in a diamond under us. You can see how that feels for the shoulders. And finally, if neither of those arm positions are doing it for you, you're not feeling any productive stretch in the shoulder, you can take a yoga block and place it between where your shoulders are going to lie on the mat. It's about where your bra strap might be, and come open like this into this pretty intense chest opener. The shoulders melt open to the side. You may want to have a support under the head, like another block or a blanket. And this is the third and final arm variation that I'm inviting you to try here in this reclining butterfly. Well, we spent our last minute here in this reclining butterfly. Go ahead and check in with those knees. If the legs need to come out early, you're always welcome to fold the knees together and bring them long out on the mat. While I'm lying here, I also like to think about my gratitudes. I'd like to send my gratitude to Mylee, who's editing this video for me, and also to Bernie Clark, who is one of the Yin teachers that I've learned a lot from. Go ahead and think about what are some of the things in your life that you're grateful for.
hope you added being grateful to yourself to that list, because you have done it. You have completed this Yin Yoga set. All that's left is to relax on the back in Shavasana. Go ahead and bring your knees together, close them together like a book if you haven't already. Wiggle off of any props that you may have, and set up for a cozy, cozy Shavasana. Take up as much space on your mat as you can. Breathe deeply, relax, and feel. With each breath, you have the opportunity to bring your attention to somewhere in the body that needs some love or needs some relaxation. And with each exhale, you have an opportunity to release that tension from the body. Lying here with our eyes closed, we'll breathe deeply and use this time to be completely present with whatever is happening in the body.
On your next breath, go ahead and begin to wiggle the fingers and toes. Rotate the ankles and the wrists in one direction. Rotate them the other direction. Stretch out long on the mat. Give yourself a yawn. Nice morning stretch. Yeah. Now we're gonna rub the palms together. And if you can, rub the feet together, the soles of the feet together. Rub, rub, rub. Warming up. Bringing the knees into the chest. We're gonna rock and roll 5 times to come up. Spreading all of that energy we generated out the top of the spine. And you did it. Thank you so much for sticking around to the end with me. I extremely appreciate you and your ability to come to this practice with me. If you'd like more information about Yin, or if you'd like to keep practicing Yin, please go to jazminhupp.com/yin. yin. I've got a beginner's guide for you. I've got more yoga practices that are available completely for free and some great resources to keep you practicing. Thank you so much for joining me, and I hope your shoulders feel amazing. Bye for now.